Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you 7 tips that's going to help you go from surviving to thriving with your finances. So stay tuned. What's up, First Gen fam? Thank you for tuning in. This is First Generation Wealth Building, where we help you transform your money mindset, your money habits, and your money beliefs. And I'm your host, Ashanze, aka Zay. So today's topic, right, we're gonna be talking about going from surviving to thriving. And so I have a couple of notes, so if I keep glancing down, that's the main reason why, because I wanna stay on track. I have a habit of going off on tangents, and I really want this to be something that can really help you guys. So let's talk a little bit about what does surviving feel like, right? So when I talk about surviving, I'm talking about those people who are working 2 to 3 jobs right now. You're struggling to make ends meet. At the end of the month, you have a little bit of a surplus, if even that. You're kind of covering things with, the credit card, so that's causing you to go into a little bit more debt. And you're barely keeping your head above water, right? And so I know what that's like, coming out of college. I had to work 2 jobs when I moved up to DC. So I was working at Home Depot and I was working at Geico at the time. And it just seemed like, even though I had all my expenses, or at least I thought I had all my expenses as low as they could go, it just wasn't enough, right? And so I had to figure out, like, okay, there's got to be something else different that I can do in order for me to, get over this hump so I can really start saving, trying to, make some moves out here. So, some of the things, I was kind of budgeting, but I really wasn't budgeting. I wasn't really tracking my money, but I was kind of tracking my money. So, these are the things that you're doing right now. You're kind of just like, oh, I got it in my bank, so I'm gonna swipe. But really, do you? Have you accounted for those things that are coming up later in the month that, you're spending money now, so you may not have it later. So, you're a little bit loose with your money is what I would say, right? And sometimes after we make these purchases, we can feel pretty crappy. We might take it back. We're like, oh, hell, I didn't even need this. Why did I buy it? So, that's just, what I mean by going surviving. Even some of us are making good money, but it's still like, that's not enough. And, so it's definitely critical to break this mindset in order for us to start building wealth and for us to, get on the right track. And so, once you start doing, the 7 things we're going to talk about, your life will really start to turn around. You'll see your habits start to change. You become more conscious about your spending. You feel better about your spending. You start to have money in the bank. You can just see how I'm lighting up, that it's just like a 180-degree change if you start, following these tips. So without further ado, I'm not going to waste your time anymore. So grab your iPhone, grab pen and paper, whichever is the best method, because we're going to go right into these 7 tips that I have for you guys. So tip number 1 is forgive yourself for your past mistakes. So you definitely got to forgive yourself for past mistakes. So, you may not have always been the best with money. You might have some maxed out credit cards, whatever your situation is. You got to say, you know what? Okay, this is it. This is where the buck stops. I got myself into this. I'm going to get myself out. The past is the past. I'm no longer going to be a victim of how I was spending money. I'm no longer going to be a victim to my old ways. From this day forward, I'm turning it around. And so you really just got to, kind of that come to Jesus moment and forgive yourself, and then you'll be able to move forward. Number 2, right? So you have to set intentions for your money and develop a value system. So number 1, set intentions for your money. You've got to get intentional about your money. If you really want to go from surviving to thriving, you really have to start getting intentional. You really have to cut out the impulsive shopping and falling into those traps. So you really have to set the best intentions for your money every time you get some. Number 2 is developing a value system. Now, I got this from reading a book called Your Money and Your Life by Vicki Robin. I'm gonna put that right there so you can see. However, in that book, she talks about, it's important for you to develop a value system, and you put pluses and minuses by the categories on how you feel when you spend money there, right? So if you really like food, you're gonna put a plus there, but if you don't really like shopping for clothes, maybe that's a minus sign. So you're going to want to put more emphasis or more money towards food, but you're going to cut back on the clothing area, right? So you see how that works. You're going to really cater your spending towards those things that bring you value, make you happy, and you want to learn to cut back on the things that don't add value to your life or subtract from your life. So number 3, stop incurring new debt. So that's definitely one of the next things you got to do, pretty much, is you want to stop incurring new debt. You want to stop digging that ditch or stop digging that hole that you're already in. You really want to kind of just say, all right, that's it. My pool is now 10 feet deep and it ain't going no deeper. That's how you got to look at the hole you digging. And so you want to really just say, all right, that's it. I'm cutting up my credit cards, or I'm going to give them to somebody that can hold them so I won't use it. You really have to buckle down and just say, okay, enough is enough. I'm not going to use these anymore. So can't stress enough. You don't want to get any more debt. Number 4, you want to get on a budget system and track your spending. Now, this is a tough one. The B word, budget, budget, budget. So I know a lot of people, don't like the budget. I know it can be a tedious thing, but in order for you to really, be able to spend the money that you want to be able to spend, you have to budget. A budget is a plan telling your money where to go. And as much as people think it's restrictive, or like hold you back from spending spending your money how you want to spend, it's the exact opposite. It gives you liberty. You can actually spend where you want to spend. I mean, if you reference, step 2, where you develop that value system, when you're starting to do your budget, you would just make your categories for the things you love a little bit higher, as long as your numbers equal out. So you definitely have to budget. I would say another tip for budgeting is to customize it. Make it your own. There's a lot of methods out there. You've got the cash envelopes, you've got the 50-30-20, you've got, I think, 70-30-10, or no, I'm sorry, 70-20-10. But personally, I would recommend do it custom. Look at 3 months of your spending, figure out where you're spending, what your categories are, then go through, itemize them, and then make it your own and say, okay, where can I cut? Where do I like to spend money? And I think that alone makes it easier for people when they customize it, instead of tracking 100 things that they don't even spend, or they're trying to figure out, okay, what category does it go in? Make your own. That's my best advice. And on the latter half, tracking your spending, right? So you have to track your spending. Again, I know it's a tedious thing, but you have to find ways to make it simple. So for example, me and my wife, we don't necessarily, when it comes to our grocery budgets, right, we include the candles that we buy from like Bed Bath and Beyond. We include like our toiletries. We include like, what else do we include in our groceries? Kind of even random spending, miscellaneous. If we buy it from a grocery store, hell, we include it in our grocery budget. And then so what we did is we looked at about 6 months. We kind of took what we spent, we aggregated, and then we said, okay, boom, this is what we spend roughly monthly at grocery stores. And we said, that's our budget. And we know what it includes, and that works for us. So that's how, instead of us tracking toiletries, groceries, hair care products, all that, no, we included in one budget. It makes it a lot easier. So definitely try that method. It might work for you. Let me know how that goes. Number 5, build an emergency fund. Okay. An emergency fund is what's going to help you from stop incurring new debt, right? Because an emergency fund is cash you just have tucked away that is for a rainy day. Oh, that kind of rhymed. I like that. Cash tucked away, saved for a rainy day. That's an emergency fund, right? Now, there's a couple of ways you can do your emergency fund. You can do the Dave Ramsey method, which is $1,000. You can do 3 months where you take your basic living expenses, so that'd be your rent, utilities, maybe cell phone, anything you need to actually continue to live your life and be productive. You want to include that, and then whatever that total is, you multiply that by 3 months or 6 months, and that's how much you would need to save. So prime example, if somebody's monthly minimum basic expenses are $2,000 a month, well, for a 3-month emergency fund, they need $6,000. You get me? Cool. So, again, the importance of the emergency fund is really there, in case of an extreme situation. So let me be clear, right? An extreme situation is you're driving down the road and wham, you hit a pothole and now you've blown out 2 tires and you need to get them replaced. Okay, you could not have known you were going to hit a pothole, nor would you have known that you had to replace 2 tires. Each of these tires cost $500. You owe $1,000. You need this car to get to work. So you got to pay that $1,000. Most people don't have that, so they got to use a credit card or whatever the case may be. But if you have that money aside, you're good. And that's the purpose of an emergency fund. Now, an emergency fund is not for if you blow your clothing budget and now you need to, take some cash to buy your groceries. No, that's not what an emergency is for. So you really got to get disciplined and make sure you don't use your emergency fund for the wrong purposes. That's key, guys. Okay, number 6, stop comparing your situation to others. I know we live in a social media age. It's very easy to get caught up in the keeping up with the Joneses, keeping up with the Kardashians is the new phrase in 2019, whatever you want to call it. I know it's hard, right? So social media pressure is crazy. I mean, we see our friends going on nice trips, having a good time, parties, and they're living a lit lifestyle. And it makes you like, I want to be doing that, right? And when you're saving money and trying to build wealth, you feel very responsible, but you also feel very boring. So people are like, oh, you lame, all you doing is saving money. Like that's a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. So you have to get over that. I want to be I want to live that lit lifestyle, you got to say, I'm focused on building wealth. And this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm comfortable with. Now, of course, in your journey, take a vacation. Make sure you treat yourself, so that way you're not depriving yourself. So again, ultimately it comes down to stop, looking at what everybody else is doing, because who knows how they're financing this stuff. We all know that, the average person 33 and younger carries about $67,000 in debt, and then the average 35 to 44-year-old has $133,000. So trust me, the lifestyle's a lie. So don't fall into it. So stop comparing yourself, stay in your lane and do your own thing, and trust everything will be okay. Number 7, right? So stay present. After all of the tips that we just went through, the most important one is you have to stay present. You have to remember the previous 6 tips. You have to, live in that moment where when you feel yourself about to make that impulsive buy when you're at Target or Walmart, you say, you know what? I got goals. I can't buy this. Prime example, I was in Walmart the other day and I love the game board Monopoly, right? And so I was about to buy Monopoly for millennials. But as I got to the checkout line, I looked and I said, I got one at home. I don't need this. So I put it back. Now that takes a lot to get to that point. And again, that's how you're going to get from that survival mindset to that thriving mindset, is when you start making decisions like that and you see your habits changing, that you made it. So just a quick recap, right? So the 7 tips that will help you go from surviving to thriving, right? Number 1 is forgive yourself for past mistakes. Number 2 is set intentions for your money and develop a value system. Number 3, stop incurring new debt. Number 4, get on a budget system and track your spending. Number 5, build an emergency fund. And number 6, stop comparing yourself to others. And number 7, stay present. Again, I promise you, if you do these 7 things, your mindset, you'll start to see your habits change, and you're gonna go from feeling like, I can't wait till I get my next paycheck, to, damn, I got paid. And that's such a beautiful feeling. It's such a great feeling to be in such a financial peace of mind, state of mind, where you have no worries about the next dollar. You're sitting on some savings. And so that's what I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do me a favor, subscribe down below, press the notification bell so when I upload every Sunday, and of course, share this with other first-generation wealth builders. So it's your boy Zay, and I'm gonna holler at y'all guys next week. Peace out.